Hi, this is Gary. Welcome to today's video. So today we're going to be taking a look at this package. We're going to be doing an unboxing, we'll look at what's in it, and then we'll see how the pen rates. So join me down on the mat and let's dig into this box. So here we are down on the mat. Now the box, it's not a bad box. I mean, it's really nice size. And given that I know it's a pen in there, it's actually way oversized. And in one respect, well, that's good. Just look at the state that it's come in. I mean, it's really damaged. Now this box, it's actually been sat in my drawer for just over a week. My poor wife's been going absolutely mental with me because she wants to see the pen. But this is the first opportunity that I've had to actually sit down and record. So without any further ado, let's dig on in, let's open this box and let's see what's inside it. And out comes some bubble wrap. Let's move everything out of the way, then we can actually take a look. So got some more tape, so let's take that off and see what's inside. Here we go. So opening up, slowly taking off this bubble wrap. Let's keep that suspense going. And we've got a box. We've got a black box which is open at one end and the pen keeps trying to sneak out to quickly reveal itself. So let's take a quick look at the box. So we've got some slots and inside is a red and white striped card. Let's turn it around. There we are. Now we're actually looking at it the right way around. It's an M. It's a medium pen that I ordered. I've been trying to get more and more Chinese pens that are in that medium size, but it's very hard to find them. So I was quite happy when I found this. We've got some Chinese writing and some serial numbers. So let's see what's inside the box. So the first thing to come out, well, it's the pen. It's gorgeous. It's inside that nice protective wrapper. The bit of card that's in there, well, that's just really telling you a bit about the fountain pen. There we go. A lot of Chinese characters on that side. And here, details how to fill it. So this pen is a vacuum filler. So this is, especially for those that have never used one before, these instructions are really quite useful. So taking a look at the pen itself, we'll just take it out that plastic sheath. And here we have the Wingsung 699 vacuumetric pressure filler in transparent brown. It is absolutely gorgeous. Just look at the colour on this. It's really nice. I've been after one of these for quite a while. Well, no, that's a bit of a lie. What I've been after is a Pilot 823. And unfortunately, I just can't afford that. You know, they're about 450, 500 Aussie dollars. Whereas this is a Wingsung 699. And this is, I'm not going to say it's copied, but it's very, very close to that Pilot 823. It cost me $37, so it's affordable compared to the, that $400 to $500 for the actual Pilot one. Now, yes, I know it doesn't have the gold nib, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but until I can save up enough money, this, well, it's going to do for me. So let's take a closer look at the pen. So at the top here, we've got a rounded cap. That seems to be a fairly solid colour. That's coming down to this gold coloured band. And attached to that band, we've got the clip. The clip's got a little bit of a logo up the top here. And then we come on down. And it's really nice and easy to get in there to actually try and open that. So on the cap itself, there seems to be a slight tapering. So it's tapering from the thinnest at where my fingers are now. And as we go towards the centre of the pen, it's getting a little bit wider until we come to this metal band. On the metal band, we've got some writing. Unfortunately, I can't see what that says at the moment. Hopefully it'll come out on the camera though, so you can see that. I'm just going to spin that around gently. So by the look at it, we've got made in China. Wing Sun 699. From the band, got a little bit more plastic. Then we've got a step down to the main body. Now the step down, it's really shallow, so we do have it tapering down. I don't know if you can see this on the camera. I don't mind it. I don't like some of these deep step downs. This is fine, you can understand it. Then we've got a transparent brown main body. You can actually see the plunger through there, and that's going all the way along. Doesn't seem to be any tapering till we come to another gold band and the filling mechanism. So let's try this whilst we've got no ink in it. So I'm going to unscrew the cap here. So that unscrews. The plunger comes out. Push that back in. So this is how I would fill the ink. By pushing it in, what's happening is I'm creating a vacuum behind the plunger. So that goes all the way down, building that vacuum up till we get to about here. And there's a slight flare out now inside the body. So what happens, the vacuum is released and it sucks the ink up to fill this space. Really simple mechanism, works really well. The plunger itself looks like it's got a seal, so hopefully it will stop any ink coming through when it's not in use. So if I screw it down, you can see here the plunger is going down. Now I'm going to watch this when I unscrew it. You see it's coming up slightly. So what that's doing is that's then releasing the shut-off between the body and that section. Let's try that again, because I was unscrewing the cap. I'll hold the body this time. Hopefully where my fingers are you'll be able to see that. So you should see the plunger slightly come up to release that seal. And then when I screw the cap back on, it goes down again. So seeing as the cap is really determined to come off, let's have a look at it. So here we go. We've got half, 1, 1 1/4, 1 1/2, 1 3/4, 2, 2 1/4, 2 1/2, just over 2 1/2 turns to release the cap. But what does that release? Well, look at that nib. That's a two-tone nib, so we've got majority is gold coloured, and then we've got that silver coloured trim. This is not a gold nib. This is a steel nib. You know, for what I've paid for it, you get what you expect. You get a steel nib. I'll be interested to see how it writes. I've not had many Wing Sun pens in the past, but the ones I have had, well, they do tend to write quite nicely. But we'll see that when we get round to the writing sample. It looks like it's a number 6 nib, but it isn't. It's not a standard nib fitting. So unfortunately, it's not one where you can go and replace with any old number 6 nib. We come down then from the nib and into the section. There's no step up that I can feel or see at the moment at the bottom of the section, which is nice because I hold my pens fairly low down. You know, I tend to hold them right on the edge, and a lot of these nibs where there's a step up I find really uncomfortable. The section itself isn't that long, which is nice to see. Again, because of how I hold it, it's not a problem, but if you tend to hold your pen a little bit further back, it might not be long enough for you, so that's something to bear in mind. The section does taper out, so it starts narrow where the nib is, and then it tapers out until it hits this gold coloured band here, and that's where the threads are for putting the cap back on. I'll just pop that cap back on. All in all, just looking at this, it looks so nice. It's absolutely gorgeous to look at. As I say, I've been after the Pilot 823 for a long time, and with this being, I'm not going to call it a copy, as I've said, it's inspired by, but it's very closely inspired by. I'm hoping that this will give me a good feel for what that 823 is going to be like, so I can continue saving until I can afford one of those. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to step away, I'm going to clean out the pen, then we'll come back, we'll look at the ink I'm going to be using, we'll fill the pen, and then we'll do a writing sample. Okay, the pen's been cleaned out. One of the things I like to do when I get a new pen is just clean it through a few times with just some warm water, not hot, just nice and hand warm, in case there's any oils or grease or any little bits and pieces left over from manufacturing. Just means you're starting off with a fairly clean pen on the inside. Let's look at the ink that I'm going to use. Well, this ink is by Robert Oster, and it's called Caffe Crema. I've had this ink for a while and I really like the colour of the ink. The issue I've not been able to find the right pen for it. A lot of my pens that are of the brown shade have only got a fine nib and they really do struggle to let this come out, to let the character of this ink come through. So I'm hoping by having this with the medium nib in this Wing Sung 699 that it's really going to fetch out the beauty of this ink. I mean, when we look at them close together, you know, we've got some really nice match in there with the transparent brown. And again, it's actually one of the reasons I ordered this particular pen. Alright, let's get rid of that and fetch in the ink bottle. So this holder, my wife got these from a charity shop. So I've got about 2 of these. I've got this one, I've got a green one. But these are really handy for holding my ink bottles so they don't tip over as well. So I've just given that ink a bit of a shake. And here we go. So that's been brought in. And let's fill it. Let's see what we can get with this pen. Helps if I don't drop it. So, as I said, to fill it, I pull that plunger out. So it's all the way up to the top. Into the ink it goes. And then slowly pushing that plunger down. I can feel the resistance as I go down. Then all of a sudden, snap. It goes and it sucks that ink up. You just get a cloth. I'll wipe off the excess ink. And look at that. From one fill. It's what, a good 3/4 of the quarters of the way full. And I'm quite happy with that. You know, you can see the ink now running there. Again, beauty about these transparent ones. You can see when your ink's running low. Let's pop the lid back on and get this ink bottle out of the way. Time now for our writing samples. So I'm going to fetch in my trusty notepad. It's by Oxford and it's the optic paper. So it's a nice bright white paper. It's a nice fountain pen friendly paper. So let's see how the pen writes. So we're looking here at the Wing Sung 699 with a medium nib and the colour transparent brown. So far, loving this. This is the first time that I've written with this pen. You know, that Caffe Crema now, I'm starting to see what I wanted to see from it. You know, I'm seeing some shading in there already. And I'm starting to see the character of this colour come out, which it doesn't when I'm using it in a fine nib. The ink, Robert Oster. Caffe Crema. I really do think I've found the perfect pen and ink combination here for these. Loving it. Let's test our wetness. This is going to be the interesting one. So first we go for an immediate check. Wow, look at that. I'm going to wait 10 seconds. Yep, still some wetness there. This time I'm going to wait for 30 seconds. Still a fair bit of wetness left in it. Last one, 1 minute. After a minute, yeah, that's nice and dry. So, not the fastest drying ink, but it's a reasonable amount of time. For my next writing sample, I'm going to move the mic close to the paper so that you can hear it as I'm writing. That's not too bad, that. It's not the smoothest nib I've ever written with, but it's not rough, it's not catching, it's not feeling like it's scratching, but you can feel it's on there. I mean, I've written with some nibs. It feels like you're writing with a really hard pencil. This isn't. There's that bit of softness, so it's nice to write with, but you know that you're writing. You've got that bit of feedback coming from the nib, again, which is nice. So again, you know the pen's on the paper, you know that the ink's flowing, you know that your thoughts are coming out of your head, through that pen, down onto paper. And after all, isn't that the only reason we've got a pen? Is to allow us to capture our thoughts from our head and get them down and onto paper. If we look at the writing, as I say, the ink, we're seeing some signs of shading. Look at the L, look at the Q, but then look at the darkness of the U. So the character of the ink is now able to start to come through, which again for me is really nice to see. So my first impressions of the Wingsung 699, so far I really like it. It's what I was hoping for. The pen itself, it's a good size. As I've said in the past, a lot of the more expensive pens I've got, they only come down to about here. They're really short. This is a good size, unposted. Posted, yes, it will post. It feels a bit heavier, but again, I need to try them both to see which is I prefer. But even unposted, really happy with that. Love the looks of it. Love the colour of it. Love in this little bit we've done here, the feel of the writing. It's a pen I'm looking forward to spending time with, getting to know and playing around with. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, please give it a like, hit that thumbs up button. Have you got this pen? Have you got some inks that may look nice in this pen? I'd love to get the conversation going in the comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.